So I made a 10 best vegan foods list. So of course I have to make a 10 worst vegan foods list, which is honestly kind of easier because I've tried some nasty stuff and it has stuck with me. So when I started making the list, I think like the first 7 came to me pretty much immediately. And then for the rest, I just went back and looked at like past reviews and taste tests that I've done. It was like, oh yeah, that was so nasty. I repressed it. I repressed the memory. Before I get started, I do want to say that I cannot believe I left off Miyoko's butter, the cultured butter, off of the best list. I mean, in terms of like vegan, like alternatives to animal products that we eat like every single day, and that's really delicious, because obviously I have soy milk like every single day, but it's not delicious, you know? But the butter is delicious. And that is something, again, that, I mean, I had it this morning on my waffles. I had it last night on my popcorn. It's just such a part of our life, I guess. I just didn't even think about it. Honestly, that probably should have been number 1. I love Doritos, but that's not something that I'm eating every single day and is absolutely delicious, you know? But whatever. It doesn't really matter. Go buy Miyoko's butter, is what I'm saying. Anyway, let's get to the list. My worst vegan foods, the nastiest vegan foods that I've tasted. Number 10, I put Parmella Creamery, specifically the cheddar slices. I tried both the shreds, the mozzarella shreds, and the cheddar slices. I think this is the worst cheese that I've tried, mostly because of the packaging. I have a video of this. All of the slices were completely stuck together because they didn't have any sort of parchment paper or wax paper separating the slices like you would typically see with sliced cheese. And so, of course, it was all stuck together. Everything broke apart. And this wasn't cheap. It was like $7 or $8 for a little package. Just absolutely stupid. And then on top of that, it was just bland and oily. You know, there was just nothing to it. You know, I've tried a lot of vegan cheeses that are just meh, whatever, but I'm not super big on cheese. Like pretty much any sort of vegan alternative is gonna be okay for me. I'll use it unless it's got that super starchy, almost gelatinous thing that some of them have when they melt that can really just sometimes, it can really gross me out. But if it doesn't have that, I'm probably gonna eat it and I'll be fine, you know? The thing with this, honestly, was the packaging. It was just so ridiculous. And I checked on their website to see if they've changed. It looks like the packaging is exactly the same. Hopefully they added in some parchment paper or something, because that's ridiculous. And to pay so much money for it, come on. Number 9, the Snow Monkey ice cream, specifically the Matcha Green Tea one. I tried 2 others, a chocolate one, and then I think like some kind of blueberry one. And they're basically like frozen smoothies, right? And, you know, they don't, like they say this is an ice cream alternative and it's supposed to be something that you can eat anytime, even for breakfast, right? It's like supposed to be really, really healthy. And it is. It's got like lots of nuts and fruit and greens, right? It's a smoothie that you freeze and it's real expensive and it tastes like that smoothie that you froze. Like it's not ice cream, you know, it's not delicious. So it's definitely the worst ice cream that I've had, specifically the matcha green tea. That one was actually disgusting because it just tasted like green powder and hemp, because there's hemp protein, I think, in all of them. And that one you could really taste it. It wasn't covered up by chocolate or anything. I also didn't put an ice cream on the best list just because there are so many good ones. There's so many good vegan ice creams now, to me, that it's just, I don't know. I don't even know which one to pick. Probably the Nadamu mint chocolate chip would be my favorite because I love that flavor and I love the consistency. But honestly, there are just so many. It's just not that exciting because there's so many good vegan ice creams. Number 8, No Evil Foods, I believe is the name of the company. They're chicken strips. This is something I tried very recently, and it is definitely one of the worst mock meats that I've tried, especially for the price. I think, again, it was $7 something for this tiny little package. You know what I mean? You compare that to something like the Gardein. I think the cheapest we see that. Sometimes it's on sale for like $2.49 at Kroger, which is crazy. You know, you've got the package of the teriyaki or the meatballs or whatever. They've got a bunch of different kinds. And then I think the standard price at Target is like $3 something. So that's pretty good. So yeah, you compare that to the No Evil Foods chicken and it's so expensive for like nothing. You're basically just getting gluten. Like you're just getting a kind of really, really tough seitan with virtually no flavor compared to, you know, Beyond Meat, which is a little bit expensive. That's like $5 something, $6 for a bag, but it's good. The texture, the flavor of like the feisty crumbles or the beefy crumbles. And then again, Gardein, where everything is like flavored and delicious. Like, I don't know. I don't know why I'm seeing this brand in stores now. I saw it in Target and then I've seen it in Kroger too. And I think I saw it one other place. I don't know why it's cropping up because I really thought it was just bad. Number 7, Loma Linda Tuna. This is also something that I tried pretty recently. Talked about it in a video. You know, I was kind of excited for it. I would love to have a tuna alternative. It's the only like meat thing that I would like to have a good alternative for. Just a simple little protein that I can pour on a salad that isn't beans, you know, or some kind of mock chicken. That would be cool. I used to eat a lot of tuna. It was like the only fish thing that I ever really ate because it's so salty. It's delicious. This was not salty, which is crazy. You're making a tuna, it should be incredibly salty, like borderline way too salty. And it also had just this weird aftertaste. It wasn't really soy because it's mostly soy. It wasn't quite that. I still don't know what it was exactly, but it was not good. Number 6, 5-star foodies, their artichoke burgers. This has to be the worst vegan burger that I've tried. They were bland. I think one of them actually had a pretty good taste because I tried a few different ones. I think one was like a tandoori something, so it had lots of spices and stuff in it. But for the most part, they were bland and really, really soft. They did not want to hold their shape at all. And they tasted like cashews and rice, which was like mostly what they're made of, cashews and rice. And for a burger, I don't want to taste cashews and rice. And it even had like a kind of ricey texture. And there's no protein. You know, if I'm having a burger, I want it to be satisfying. I'm not going to be satisfied off of cashews and rice. It's just like, why even make a burger out of those ingredients? I don't get it. It's like some of these vegan turkey alternatives that I've seen that I had no idea even existed. And they're like just vegetables. Why? Number 5, the Verus Soy Drumsticks. They have all sorts of vegan mock meats, maybe some vegetarian ones too. If you go to like an international market, you'll probably find some. I mean, we've seen sections that were just enormous with all sorts of different, you know, chicken and pork and scallops. And they had these drumsticks, which I pretty much knew I was not gonna like because just the look of it, you know, I was never, even when I ate meat, I didn't really like eating things off of the bone. It just kind of inherently grossed me out before I even tasted it. So yeah, going back to that, not super exciting. And then when I actually tasted it, it was just an awful texture, like stringy and doughy. The only thing worse that's similar to that was, I talked about this, I went to a vegan restaurant that's in Portland and they had these chicken things and they put like some crunchy noodles or something in there so that when you bit, I guess it was supposed to have some sort of texture, like what, bones or some shit? I don't know, but it was awful. Like that was so nasty. I didn't put it on the list because it's not, you know, I'm trying to stick to like products that you would see in stores, right? I mean, if I were making a best list of stuff in restaurants, I would definitely include like one of the donuts from Dough Donuts here, specifically the Portland Fog donut. I freaking love that donut so much, but I didn't want to put stuff like that on the list where it's like, you can't get that unless you're here, you know, that kind of sucks. Number 4, this is also something I had very, very recently, the Pig Out, what does this say? Oh, it must have autocorrected to piglets. It's supposed to say pigless, I think. Pig Out Pigless bacon chips, specifically the cheddar variety. That's the only one that I've tried. Oh no, it is so incredibly bitter, just way too much yeast, which a lot of vegan companies do when they're trying to do, usually when they're trying to do something with cheese or something that's supposed to be kind of like umami meaty thing, they'll add just way too much yeast or way too much liquid smoke, and you just get this nasty, bitter / chemically thing, and that's what these are. They're just horrible. They're made from mushrooms, the chips, and you know, it came in a tiny bag. It was kind of expensive, but it's like, man, I gotta try these. I already wasn't excited for them, to be honest, but they were even worse than I could have imagined. They were so terrible. And then the smell, my kid was eating them because, of course, they don't know any better. And so they were eating them, and we had them in a little bowl, and we put the top on the bowl so they wouldn't go stale. And I opened up the bowl later for them, and the smell, it made me nauseous. Like, it was so just like feet, you know? Never again. Number 3, very, very similar to that, is the Stonewall Jerky. This is by far the worst vegan jerky I've tried. It's, again, so bitter. I remember my partner and we got a little pack because they had them on sale. It's like a closeout sale or something at the store. We tried them on the way home, walking home. We didn't have water or anything. We tried them and it was so bad. We were just like suffering the whole walk home, waiting until we could get water or just something to wash the taste out. It's bad. Number 2, this is the worst non-dairy milk I have tried. It's worse than the Ripple milk in my opinion. It's that Malk brand, which I didn't know if it was still around, but I just saw it at, where were we? I think a New Seasons. Hopefully they've improved it, but the one that we got, both have tried 2 different ones. I think an unsweetened and like a sweetened one or something. They just tasted off, like if you make your own almond milk and you don't drink it soon enough, you know, you leave it in a fridge for a day or two too long and it gets that, you know, little bit kind of fermented taste. That's how these tasted. Oh, and also grainy, like they hadn't been strained properly. Like if you make a homemade nut milk and you don't really strain it like with an actual cheesecloth. And there's no fortification, no calcium or B12 or vitamin D or anything. And expensive, you know, they're a lot more expensive than the stuff that is fortified and is actually smooth. So to me, I just did not understand why that was on the market. Why not just make your own almond milk at that point? You can actually make it smooth. You can actually make it tasty. And it's going to be way cheaper. You know, I get the convenience factor, but when something isn't nearly as good as when you can make it at home, then like, man, it's just not worth it. So yeah, that one was pretty crazy. I really hope that they have improved it because this was a couple years ago that I tried it. So hopefully they've made it better. And then number 1, it's the Ripple yogurt. Oh my God. So bitter, so grainy, that awful weird taste that all of their stuff has, the milk too, and other pea milks. Every single pea milk I've tried has had it. It's just this weird bitterness that's awful. My partner tastes it too, so it's not just me. And yeah, the yogurt was the worst by far because at least the milk was smooth and creamy. The yogurt was grainy on top of it. You know, we got it like several more times because toddler actually liked it. And it was nice to have, you know, a different kind of protein for them instead of, you know, soy or almond or whatever. Every single time it was exactly the same, bitter and grainy. That's one of the few vegan things that I've tried where I've honestly had a really hard time even swallowing it. I'm pretty sure I spit it out the first time I tried it. Oh, the other yogurt, I would say it's not as bad, but it's pretty darn close, is some of the oat milk yogurt. I believe it was the Silk brand that we tried. And it's just terrible in a different way. Like really, really gelatinous and not much protein either. So like, what the fuck is even the point of this? And of course, toddler likes it. So that's it. I'm sure I'm forgetting something that's just like absolutely the worst thing I've ever tasted ever. And I just repressed it so much. It's just gone. The memory's gone. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Yeah, I guess I'd love to know the worst things that you've tried. It's kind of great that there's so many vegan options now, right? It's kind of amazing. And of course, when there's so many options, there's going to be stuff that's just terrible. There's going to be stuff that's like hard to eat, you know? So It's a good thing is what I'm saying, that we have like the worst cheese, right? Because that means that there are other vegan cheeses, you know? The worst yogurt. There are other vegan yogurts. There's so many vegan yogurts now. We have cashew yogurt, which I tried. I'm not a fan of that. And oat milk and soy and coconut and almond. It's dope. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe. Support the channel, patreon.com/unnaturalvegan. And I will have a new video very soon. Oh, and I figured out how to bake with it too, which I'm super excited about. I complained before about trying to make cookies with the butter and how they just get really greasy, you know, and they don't hold any sort of shape. So like trying to make any sort of, you know, cutout cookie, a sugar cookie or something is impossible. Well, not true, my friends. You just have to be a little bit more careful in terms of like the temperature of the dough. So I made, I think, what recipe was it? It was either Loving It Vegan or It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken. One of those two. I love both of those websites. Pretty much everything I've made from either of them have been amazing. But it was a sugar cookie recipe from one of them. And I used the Miyoko's butter and I just made sure, like, after I creamed it with sugar, I put it in the fridge for a little bit, right? After I mixed everything, put it in the fridge. So there were a couple extra instances of the dough, you know, being in the fridge just to make sure it was cold enough. And they came out perfect. I should have taken pictures, but honestly, they came out so perfect. They held their shape, no problem. So that's really exciting. I'm about to try it on a gingerbread cookie for Thanksgiving. So I'm really, really hoping that works too, because the last time I tried, it did not. They were fluffy little boys. Fluffy, greasy little boys. Oh, God. What?